Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 413. It is the fourth day of the week, aka the Buster Cannon workout. I'm feeling pretty good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today. Doing it for the love of the game. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because I talked about it in a previous episode briefly where, some people will just do it for the love of the game, but there's no real incentive on, making money or whatever. Those things come up every once in a while. And thus that is why I wanted to talk about it, because sometimes there are people who do it for the love of the game. In fact, here is a perfect example, is this channel. I'm doing it for the love of the game at this point, because obviously if I didn't like doing this, plus the working out, plus all this other stuff, I would have probably stopped doing at least the video aspect of it, So if it wasn't for, I like doing this, I wouldn't do it, So the love of the game is really what I'm doing it for. There is no monetary incentive. There is a incentive in the sense that eventually it could get there. But the fact that I'm not doing anything in order to accelerate that just means I'm doing it for myself, really. But we'll get into more detail and a few other things when it comes to the love of the game when we get to Mother Base.
Alright, so started this day off with leg extensions, which were pretty good, but anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Doing it for the love of the game. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because this is, I feel like, now a lost art, especially because of all of the things that are all-encompassing in social media and things like that. Doing something because you are passionate about it seems like a lesser and lesser deal, because now people nowadays will monetize their passions via YouTube and or other video social media means, and by doing that they have kind of not necessarily sullied the idea, but kind of tried to turn their side project into a side hustle, and then thus we've kind of bastardized certain passions for things, and thus that makes it so people will end up becoming a little less actually passionate about something. And I want to preface this entire thing because I think a lot of people are going to misinterpret this when I say this. The entire point that I'm trying to also make with this is not the fact that this is an excuse for mediocrity, of course, because this isn't necessarily that. I think that if you are going to try something and be passionate about something, but you're actually mediocre at it because you aren't giving it the 100% that you want to give it, then are you really truly passionate about it? I think that there are people out there, it's not necessarily rare, but that will understand that there are certain limitations on them, but they will still try their hardest in order to get as high as they can, whatever that can be. Maybe they don't believe in the ceiling, but then there are just certain things that they cannot control within their life, but still they are trying to maximize their own whatever it is. You can look at it as simple examples like the 5'10" basketball player that's really, really good, but he's only going to be 5'10", so essentially he's never going to make it into the NBA. But there is still some want and hope to be as good as humanly possible and join a rec league somewhere or something along those lines. And I think that this type of stuff, when you do it for the love of the game, you take over that ability to want to just push yourself to the nth degree that you can get to. And I think that that's the main thing, is that a lot of the time now we've sullied a lot of the stuff where it's all about just doing it for monetization purposes, doing it for the love of money, which we'll get to in a different episode. Is this a waste of time? Maybe, but who cares? Realistically, if they are passionate about something, it's good to be passionate about things. I think a lot of life now has been soul sucking, basically getting rid of passions, making sure that we are passionless people, just addicted to phones and doom scrolling and not really caring about anything that could be a passion or would be a passion, but instead just making us consumers and passing by about other things, when in reality we should be passionate about at least one or two things in our life where we take it to the nth degree or to the most that we can humanly possible within our own possibilities, and just see where it goes. I think a lot of people end up giving up on a lot of those dreams or aspirations because there has to be something extra tied to it. And that's the issue. I think that there is some level of delusion that you kind of have to go through in order to have a passion, but at the same time, this delusion is good in a certain sense because you can get through or do things that you don't even realize that you could do, pushing yourself to limits that you didn't even know existed. And that's why the passion for the love of the game is something that is very important, especially when you are teaching it to younger kids, you know, to understand that you may or may not have what it takes to get to the top degree, but push it and see how far you can take it, because you never really truly know how far you can take it. You know, there are a lot of people, and I used to be one, who would give up if I wasn't at the pinnacle of something that I started, which is a stupid mentality, because of course I'm not going to be at the pinnacle of something when I just started. That's natural talent. Natural talent is a completely different subject, and this isn't about that. This is about the passion that you may or may not have for something, and once you have the passion for it, you can continue on and continue making it as best as you can make it, and thus that will continue on to until you reach some type of limit, if there is one, or go beyond and further beyond that you even could possibly imagine. So it's just finding that passion and making sure you have the love for the game and not the love for money, because the love for money is something totally different.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed to none. Exercises skipped also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Doing it for the love of the game. So the main reason I wanted to discuss this is because this is something that I feel like is underappreciated, especially nowadays, because nowadays, whenever doing something, it's like as if we have to have illusions of grandeur and or just something more, you know, a monetary purpose in doing something. We can't just do it because we like doing it, you know. That seems so foreign to some. Maybe not everybody, but it seems like it's now become less of a concept because of how everything has to be monetized, and the love of money is forever there, unfortunately. So that it makes it so that people who do it for the love of the game, it's an interesting dynamic, because you'll have on one side people that will say, oh, what a fucking idiot, he isn't, you know, doing it professionally, or, you know, doing it where he can make money. But the other side of it is like, if you get the pursuit or the idea of what a hobby and or something that is constitutional of a passion is, you'll understand that sometimes you don't want to sully it with things like competition or money or monetary things, you know. That makes it so then thus it brings down the quality of said thing, and thus it starts to become a passion that is passionless. So that's why I can at least respect those who do it for the love of the game, who understand that, hey, I like doing this, I like seeing this, I like not really necessarily being the end all be all when it comes to like the top of the line or whatever. You're there to witness and or participate in this whatever activity, whether it be small or large, for your own purposes. And I think that's lost nowadays, and I hope that maybe one day we can get that back, or at least not frown upon these people as much. I understand it makes sense when you frown on certain people, but if they've got everything else, you know, set in their life, they're not really doing bullshit besides that, you know, if they're trying desperately to make it so they become monetized, then it's a little bit of a different story, but that's kind of like a desperation tactic. But these people, you can understand inherently that they're doing it because they love doing it, you know. They don't give off that feeling of they want X or Y or Z out of it, you know. And they are rarer to find that now, but they do exist out there. And it's more of a shout out to you guys, because you really are, like, if you do it well, you're probably a gatekeeper and well knowledged in whatever the hell you are into. But anyway, with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If you know anyone or are someone who does it for the love of the game, whatever game that is, please let me know in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.